Hey guys, welcome back to Jowers Technology Solutions. So I know it's been a couple weeks, so I'm going to upload a new video. This one's going to be on getting started with penetration testing. First and foremost, thank you everybody that is subscribing to my channel. I really do appreciate it. I know I'm trying to keep up with doing videos because I'm running the business and all that good stuff. Right now what I'm going to be doing is starting to study for my PenTest Plus. So I'm going to incorporate everyone into my studying, so to speak. So I'm going to start doing slideshow. Well, this is going to be a slideshow, but I'm also going to be doing practical applications. So I have my my cyber server that I'm building, and I'm going to open up a lab piece to that. So I'm going to be doing what I'm learning, so that way you guys can see it and see how it would actually work in the real world. So I'm going to go ahead and start this with the penetration testing. And this is just a general overview, nothing big or specific, just a general overview. So I hope you like it, guys. So we're going to start off with the penetration testing, learning together. So from the beginning, you want to know who is your audience and what industry or what is their company profile. So this could be, a small business, a medium-sized business, or a large corporation. It depends. What are we affecting? Basically, that's asking the daily business services. So what are they using on a normal day? Is it email? Is it file sharing? What have you? Or what could it be? How far can we go, and how will we get there? So basically, once you get into the system, how far are you going to go? Are you going to go after a specific server? Are you going to go after, a host? Are you going to try to plant malware on a host, or try to do SQL injection on the web server, or what? And also, how will you get there? Are you going to go over the wired network or the wireless network? Are you going to, try to sneak in and plug into a cable in a server room, or are you going to just sit outside in your car on the wireless? Are there services and machines we are not allowed to touch? So this is part of the legal part. So we'll reach this point in a second. But what that basically means is if it's not in the documentation that they say you can't touch this, that means if you see, don't even look at that IP address. What method are we using to gain information or access for any given target? So kind of like what I just said, wireless or wired. Are you going to get in there over the guest or over their main Wi-Fi? Are you going to find a way to get in there? Or some people are good enough to social engineer their way into a building and plug right into the wired network. You never know. Legal ramifications. So you have the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement. You have the MSA, which is the Master Services Agreement, and then you have the SOW, which is the Statement of Work. All right, so we're going to cycle back through this a little bit. So who is your audience? Again, small business, small network generally. Medium-sized business, where you have a main branch with a few remote branches, or you have large businesses or corporations like Google. I put Google or Facebook. That's supposed to be Google. So basically, in my experience, I deal mainly a lot with small businesses. So generally speaking, they have like a main network, and then they have a guest network. They can set up more than that if they want to, but that's generally all they have. So it's pretty easy to get in there, scan something, and find out what they have, whether it be Linux boxes or Windows boxes or what have you. So it's generally pretty quick. And you kind of have to figure out what software they're running. That way you can figure out what to exploit if you need to. With medium-sized businesses, a main branch with a few more branches. So you can go about this in many different ways. You can go after one branch, or you can see if you can, once you get into one branch, you can see if you can get to another branch. It all depends on how their network is set up. Can it be done? Absolutely. Should it be done? That depends on the legal piece of it. Large businesses or corporations like Google or Facebook. So I'm going to say this about these guys. So they probably have their own pen testing groups. I don't see them probably bringing in a third-party person, especially an individual. But I'm going to leave the large corporations as they are right now. So we're going to move on from that. What are we affecting? So let's circle back to this. And when it comes to the legal piece, are we interrupting services such as email, file share access, general network access disruption? So in this case, if you're doing it during business hours, then this is probably something you don't want to do. If you're doing it after business hours, it probably doesn't matter. So when it comes to the legal piece, you have to be very, very careful. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not offering any legal advice to anyone. This is just a general discussion of what it could be like. So you have to be very careful whenever you're doing a pen test, because you don't know, if you don't know what you're doing, or if you do something by mistake, you could end up causing reboots or server crashes, changing configurations. You might go in there and, again, maybe thinking something's going to do something a certain way, but not working out, changing configurations. If it were me, and if it's not in that document, that legal document that was discussed before any of this takes place, then I would not touch it or not do it. But yeah, so you need to understand what you're doing and what it's affecting. How far can we go, and how will we get there? So let's ask ourselves the questions. Are we authorized to cause major disruptions or no service disruptions at all? So again, circling back to the server thing, can you do something to crash the server? Absolutely, you can. Should you do it? If the legal ramifications say yes, then it's a possibility. But again, that's depending on the scenario as to whether or not you should do it. Are we authorized to use phishing attacks or brute force? So again, phishing attacks, obviously, I would say relatively low risk to the network. You're just sending, you can send phishing emails, or you can do the, what do you call it? Vishing with the V. There you go. You can do vishing, or you can do the text thing, because with everything going on these days, especially with politics and whatnot, you're probably getting those spam texts, and it's out there. So just be mindful of it. With brute force, so are you allowed to get onto a box, pull their credentials, whether it be the SAM file or the Etsy shadow file, and start trying to brute force those passwords? Depends. Is that a lower impact? I would say so. It's not, you're not crashing anything, you're not necessarily breaking anything. You were able to get in there, whether with privilege escalation or not. So just keep that in mind. Do we have to stay on a certain network range, or can we look for other network ranges? So that's going to be defined in your statement of work. So basically, let's say you have a /24 network. So okay, I'm allowed to get on that /24, but is there another network out there that if I see it, can I start doing things with that? Yes or no. It depends on what the scope of what we'll say the scope of work is. Are we authorized to do full-scale privilege escalation, or are we only authorized to do port scans? Again, this is just one of those things that falls, does it fall within the scope of the pen test? Can you do full-scale privilege escalation? Absolutely. If there's vulnerable software that you can use to break into it, then fine. Or can you just do port scan? So it could be to the point where you're like, okay, all I can do is run nmap and scan things and see what versions of software is running on those ports. That's possibility. All right. And legal ramifications. So again, the non-disclosure agreement, basically means you will not divulge company information to unauthorized people. The MSA is agreement governing upfront conditions for and during the penetration test, i.e. the payments, IP ownership, risk acceptance. And the SOW, which is a statement of work, defines activities being carried out during the penetration test, i.e. purpose, timeline, deliverables. So, I know I'm going kind of quick. I don't like doing non-technical things, but they must be done. So I hope, looking back through these, I hope that you got something from it. But this is just a startup, straight up overview, high level overview of what you would do before you would do a pen test. And so, yeah, guys, I hope this has been helpful. I do appreciate all the subscribers that I'm getting. I'm going to continue doing this, and I'm also going to do some more technical things. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it, and y'all have a good night. Thanks.